Really, really excited today to welcome all our season ticket holders, fans, and our supporters to who love PC. Really great Christmas treat. So excited today on a snowy day here in Rhode Island. Got a nice foot of snow on the ground to have three of the greatest Friars ever to join us during Christmas. So excited to welcome 87 grads, Doris Burke, Coach Billy Donovan, and my teammate Harold Starks. Welcome to each of you today for joining us. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Steve.
You know, one of the special things about Providence College is to see so many great people make up the Friar family. And obviously, having you three together, you guys see what's going on at Providence. And I have to start off, as always, giving love to our fans, our season ticket holders support us, and also our corporate sponsors. Tonight's Zoom is presented by RIPTA. So we appreciate all the support from RIPTA out there and all our corporate sponsors. I'm going to get right into it with you guys you know, all of us the last 9 months were hit with something none of us could be prepared for. And Doris, I'm going to start off with you as you look over the last 9 months and get ready for the NBA season now, how do you prepare yourself every day to be your best?
It's a great question. I think this has been a challenging time. Going back to March when I was diagnosed with COVID and sort of dealing with the uncertainty of that and then sort of continuing on with symptoms throughout the course of the next 6 to 8 months. It was a little scary. But honestly, Knapp, I am so thankful. The bubble was one of the most unique experiences of my professional life. It was a privilege to be there, to watch those men, pursue their passion and to advocate for the causes of social justice and to stand up for what they believed in. For me to be a part of that and have an opportunity to cover it was a real honor. And I think the one thing I'd say, Knapp, is every day I'm trying to find a reason to be thankful, and there's lots of those. And so I'm excited about the season. I was watching Billy's team last night, and I'm just glad he's in a new city with some young, talented people. So I'm excited to go and can't wait.
Well, Doris, I'm getting texts and chat comments, and I'm getting a ton of people just saying, we tell Doris we love her and she's the best in the business. So can't thank you enough for being with us today.
I love my biased Friar fans.
Love it. Love it. Well, Coach Donovan is, this is a special treat for me because my love for Providence College is I wanted to be Billy Donovan. And, when I got cut from my 8th grade CYO team at St. Joseph's, and you knew him, Dave Lucia, used to go to church with him, it's an honor to have you. And all of us at Friartown are so excited for you in Chicago and the Windy City. Kind of tell us your mindset being a new city, new energy, and how you're handling during the pandemic.
Yeah, it's been, as Doris said, it's been trying times. Coaching in this environment is you never know what happens day to day. Like Doris had mentioned, being in the bubble and seeing how that worked out was a unique experience. But now it's gotten a lot harder because, all the players were in Orlando in isolated situations. Now you're going to start to travel, you're going to start to go to different places. And I think you got to really remain very, very flexible. I don't think you can get emotionally caught up to game losing players. We played a game last night and didn't have 6 players travel with us for a variety of different reasons. But I think just in this day and age, I'm not sure if complaining or getting upset. I think you've got to move on, like Doris said, with a grateful attitude that you have a chance to be a part and do something you love doing. And there's going to be a lot of curveballs thrown at you, and you've got to be flexible. You got to be able to adjust, and you got to be able to handle the day and the situation and what's being thrown at you, and look at it from the perspective that there was a period for 4 months where none of us were around the game at all. So being thankful to be back around the game and being able to, work together to get prepared for a season is exciting, but it's also extremely challenging as well.
Billy, I got to believe too is some days you got to be when it's 25 degrees out saying, man, I miss my house in Florida. Somebody just asked us that on the chat.
Well, I do. We actually moved into a new place in St. Augustine in July, which has been great. It was short-lived for me. I didn't know after leaving Oklahoma City if I'd be coaching this season or not, but it worked out well. And it's certainly going to be a lot warmer in Florida than it is in Chicago. But Chicago's been a great city. I really have enjoyed it a lot. Just over the 5 years of being in the NBA, traveling there, it's really a great city. A lot of sports interest, a lot of great restaurants, a lot of culture, just a really, really great place, and have enjoyed, the time that I've been there. I've kind of finally got moved there. I'm not actually in permanent housing. I'm in some temporary housing right now, but, got into Chicago permanently in the beginning of November, but the city's been great.
One of the greatest cities in the country. And Harold and I are already planning to come and take you to a Cubs game, one of the best experiences in all of sports. So
Yes.
can't wait for it. So
Look forward to it, Nap.
one of the best teammates I could ever ask for. And, Harold wrote in my notes that both of you owe a lot of your success to him, your time at Providence, learning under his tutelage. So H, great to have you here. Great to have you as a teammate, and know you're feeling a lot of the same anxieties that all of us feel during this time.
Yeah. So first of all, I'd like to just say I'm grateful to be on this webinar tonight with both Billy and Doris, because they're definitely the legends, not me. I'm a legend in my own
Come on,
mind.
H, cut that out right now.
So, but yeah, things have been strange for me as well, Steve. I think this week it really hit me when we had some of our games canceled and postponed, and I didn't really know how to feel about that. Not being able to go to the dunk and watch the guys play really hit me this week. Because I'm not coaching and I'm not playing, so the games is what it was all about for me. So I'm just hopeful that the guys can play, as we go down the road here, and stay safe and healthy. So looking forward to that as we get into the season.
Well said, Harold. Well said. Let's get to our Friar moments. There's so many great institutions. We travel the country, play great schools. Bill, you've coached at different schools. Doris, you've coached, been at different schools. But, can you tell the fans out there what it means to you to be a Friar? And Doris, I'll start off with you.
It's a great question. I don't know exactly how to answer it. What I will tell you is I take enormous pride in the kinds of people we seem to graduate, because then I'll just talk about people in my world that I've stayed close with at Providence. Sheila Harity is a classmate of mine, a former teammate of mine. She's the National Principal of the Year. She's now a superintendent of one of the largest institutions in Massachusetts, and yet she's this kind and humble and just caring person. So she's had this extraordinary personal success, and yet is one of the kindest human beings you can meet. And I think about the guy sitting here with us, Billy. I mean, think about it. Billy is one of 30 men to hold the job that he has. There's only 29 other guys doing what he does. Hall of Fame coach, 2 national championships, extraordinary success at Florida. And yet, you walk into a building and he's got a big smile and he's a Friar through and through. And you just feel this, I don't know, familial connection. And we were both very young, obviously, all of us young when you enter the institution. I don't know. I don't know what it means, Snap. I just know I'm incredibly proud to be associated with the group of alums, and in particular, people from my class. So.
Well said. Well said. Coach Donovan.
Yeah, I think to echo some of the things that Doris said, one is, Doris has been in her job for a long time. And as someone said, the best in the business is doing what she does. But, when I first came into the NBA, it was like old homecoming, having to go in to sit down with media, and Doris is in there and Jeff Van Gundy is in there. And Jeff obviously, coached me. And every conversation, Nap starts off the same way, with Doris telling me that she was by far the best point guard in 1987. Yeah, I have to agree with her. And I think to what Doris said, which is amazing, one is going around and, seeing people, like getting a chance to get reacquainted with Doris, seeing Jeff, The friends that I've kept in touch with, former teammates, Harold, kept in contact with him all the way through, guys I went, classmates. I think the quality of people is what really, really stood out to me, and how it's been over 30 years since, I've left, and I'm still very, very tied to Providence, and I'm still very, very tied to those relationships, both the ones that were on the basketball team and the ones where guys weren't on the basketball team. And that speaks to the quality of people that were there, at Providence. And, I think you really grow from a spiritual standpoint, going away and, being on that campus and experiencing the things that you experience, day in and day out. It molded and shaped me, I think, in an incredible way, impacted me in an incredible way. But I think what probably impacted me more than anything else was the people that I had a chance to be around day in and day out. And that's what made the place so special.
Well said. Coach, when we putting this together, there was a lot of people who thought Billy Kramer and Ryan Ford should have been involved in the Friar legend category on this call. So Harold,
they're legends for different reasons, Knapp.
H, how about you, my friend?
I would echo what both Billy and Doris just said about pride and just being a Friar, and being a Friar during the times when we were in school, and you go out on the road and you go to different arenas and you see other Friars, teammates, classmates, and it just warms your heart, warms your soul just to know that, you met these people at Providence College. And no matter what you think about the institution, it's all about the relationships that you create while you're there, and they continue throughout life. I think, all three of us have friends, even you too, Steve, friends that we just carry with us for the rest of our lives, 30 something years down the road, we're still friends. We're doing this. I can't believe I'm on this webinar right now with these guys, but and other things that you can't make it up. I don't know if many people know, but this year, class of 2024, both my daughter Ashley and Billy's daughter Connor were roommates in McVinney Hall. And you can't make that up. When Billy and I running around campus doing whatever we did 30 years ago, no way could someone have said your kids will be rooming together at Providence College 30 something years later. They're both very smart, much smarter than Billy and I can tell you that. They go to Civ. We didn't go to Civ.
Well said, Harold. Great story. And I'll throw, what was your best memory at PC and of each other? You guys were there at a special time. Obviously, Coach D, you went, you brought one of the greatest teams and memories, and Doris, your teams were great. So Doris, give the fans, what was your best memory at PC and of each other?
So I think my best memories, to be perfectly frank with you, and everybody knows what it's like to be part of a team. And so I think back to the times I laughed so hard my stomach hurt, whether we were traveling on a bus, which we did a ton of back then. I remember once being on break, and we traveled from Providence to Syracuse to DC, and DC back to Providence, all on a bus. And, you think that you're on the bus too long and the food is awful, but I just distinctly remember it because there's something special about working with other people, trying to become the best version of yourselves individually and then as a basketball team. So for me, my fondest memories are, sort of hard practices and going back into the locker room and commiserating with my teammates, and again, it's so rare that I laugh as hard still to this day, unless I'm with one of my former teammates, which I'm still close to a few of them. And so those would be my best memories. And then of course, being a senior and watching Billy go from a guy his freshman year who struggled at times to get on the floor to a National Player of the Year candidate, and then to take us all on that incredible journey to the Final Four in New Orleans. I'll never forget it. It was just, we were also, the men's and women's teams, we always sat in the sort of same back corner of Raymond Cafe, and we cared deeply about how their success went. And so that's a great memory for me of Billy.
You gotta give us a good Harold one, Doris.
Well, I was sitting here thinking Harold probably played more defense in one season than Billy and I played in our 4 years.
That's true, Doris.
No, he one time spoke at a camp. I was a player and I'm a counselor, and we hired Harold. So, he was so good on the defensive end of the floor. And he was sort of telling us at this camp that he cut the court into, quad angles. And I'm sitting there thinking, boy, he's really way more invested on the defensive end than I ever thought about.
There was a reason, Doris. I couldn't get the ball from Billy, so I had to do something to play.
Doris, you got it. Next time you're on campus, I want to take you in Harold's office. There's a poster when the Dunkin' Donut Center, known as the Civic Center at the time, celebrated the first 25 years. They put the greatest acts on this poster, and they had one basketball player from Providence College. You'd see Ernie D, Kevin Stakem. You think of the names, Billy Donovan, all of it, Joe Hassett. Nope. Harold Starks is the player on the poster. He definitely had to have some influence there, but it's a great poster. We definitely have to do a poster night one night, H, for you on that one.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Coach Donovan, how about you? Best memory and of these two great Friars?
Well, I remember watching Doris play quite a bit. They generally were out there practicing, so I followed her. I don't think people really understand how good of a player she was. I mean, she started as a freshman, and I followed her career very, very closely just because we both came in as the same age. And, as Doris mentioned, I didn't play very much. And she was an immediate impact player right away and had a huge impact on their team. And I think people see Doris on TV and watch, her do what she does and how talented and great she is at her job. But she was a really, really good player when she came in there and really stepped in right from day one and made a huge impact. So I think to echo what Doris said, we followed each other's teams very well. We were back in Raymond Cafeteria. Our paths always crossed because, the seasons, basically coincided with each other. But she was a great player and had an unbelievable career. I say this, coming out of high school and then coming into the Big East, I was certainly extremely overwhelmed and probably wasn't ready or even deserved to play. Harold made me a much, much better player because you are not going to play against a better defender, a more physical defender, and a guy that was really, really smart. And Doris touched on it. He really knew angles and how to play. And if you played against Harold, you only could get better. And he really made me a better player. One story I remember, Harold grew up in Harlem. And during those times in the 80s, it was a rough place to live. And I always felt pretty good, coming down 95 and going over to Throgs Neck Bridge to Triborough Bridge. We go into Harlem and I drop him off because I continue on to Long Island. And I always felt pretty good until I pulled up to his house and he got out of the car. I was by myself. He'd say, "Bill, just run every red light until you get out of here and you'll be fine."
He made it.
He made it.
True story. True story. I got a story for you guys. It actually involves both Bill and Doris. I remember, I think Bill could have been our sophomore, junior year. I'm not sure, but we got a phone call to come up to Alumni Hall. The women were playing, and Coach Mulaney at the time took both of us upstairs. And we were like, it's our day off. What's going on? And he sat us down and he said, "I want you guys to watch the women play." And we're like, what are you talking about, Coach? He said, "Watch Doris, watch her fundamentals, the bounce pass, the chest pass, the way she cuts, the way she plays." I don't think he was too thrilled about two New Yorkers, I mean, Billy and I, throwing the ball all around Alumni Hall and the Civic Center. So
he was more thrilled with you, H, than he was me. I can tell you that.
So it was, I always remember that. I always remember having to go up to Alumni Hall and watch Doris and have her teach me how to throw a bounce pass to the post. I'm pretty sure Otis Thorpe appreciated that afterwards, but it was just one of those things that I really remember about Doris and Billy in a moment we shared together. So,
You never told me that story.
Huh?
You've never told me that story.
Absolutely not. No, I was saving that one. Yes.
Well said, H. Well said. We're getting questions, Doris, people always, you get this all the time, and we have someone asking you as such a leader for Providence College, and so many people see what you do and it looks easy. What advice can you give to Friartown out there, to all the young aspiring young men and women who want to be the next Doris Burke?
Yeah, I wish they could have seen the first game I broadcast, Matt, because it was in Alumni Hall and it was an absolute disaster. I mean, a disaster. I remember distinctly, I'm covering a team that I had played for and coached, but I swear to God, the red light of that camera came on. And while there was a part of me that knew, oh, you should be looking at that, there was a part of me that was absolutely terrified that that red light was coming on and I was supposed to say something somewhat respectable and important about what was about to transpire. I think the one thing I'd say is I think people see where I am now and don't realize, or maybe, can think that it was an easy process, or I don't know. I mean, I feel quite lucky to be where I am, but I started calling games for Providence College women's basketball. And there were times way back then, 30 years ago, whatever it is now, maybe more, where my play-by-play partner did not show up. And I remember distinctly calling the game on a phone line. And, it's just been this slow, steady process of growth, me growing into what goes into being a good announcer, knowing when to talk, when not to talk. I mean, there's a million things that go into it, but I laugh sometimes that when young people come up and say, I want to do what you do. And I say, well, okay, that's going to be a little bit of a process because it's been a 30-year journey. I'm thankful for every step of the way. NBA fans always use this expression, and I just think it's so appropriate. They always say you can't skip steps. You can't skip steps. And that's the one thing I know. I'm so thankful for those Providence College women's basketball games because there was no one listening, literally no one. And in 1997, when the WNBA was formed, I didn't get the TV job. I got the radio job at the New York Liberty. And literally the only people who heard me were the ones who David Stern, he was smart enough in trying to help the league grow. If you called the NBA office and you were put on hold, you would actually hear our radio broadcast. And I thought, oh, thank God somebody's listening to me. I mean, I would just say, life is a journey and enjoy every step of the way. And there's probably no job too small to do, because I did a lot of very small jobs on the way to covering the NBA, that's for sure.
Well said. Coach Donovan, we're getting this one a lot. Friartown would love to know what the difference biggest for you is coaching NBA compared to college.
Yeah, I mean, it's completely different all the way around. I think I was very fortunate coming from college and having a group of guys in Oklahoma that I think were probably very patient with me because there is a lot to learn. You're kind of learning on the fly. I mean, my first year, I think Kevin Durant was in his 7th year in the league. Maybe Russell Westbrook was in his 6th year. Nick Collison was in his maybe 12th year. Serge Ibaka was like in his 7th year. These guys had played against opponents and teams and had way more experience and knowledge than I did. And, I felt very, very compelled to try to learn as much as I could to basically catch up to them and, as a coach, try to assist them when they were playing. And it took me some time to do that. I like the NBA to this. I think when people go from high school to college, they're looking for the coach to help them with the transition of being away from home for the first time. There is a tremendous bond because of the recruiting process between the player and the coach. And now the player is coming into a team that he really doesn't know anybody, and all he really knows is the coaches. So you're kind of helping them, and everything's a first for them. It's the first time being away from home. It's the first time having to make their own decisions. There's a lot of, and they need some guidance through that. In the NBA, these guys have been and have experienced everything. A lot of times in college, and these guys come out of high school, they think that they know what they have to do to be an NBA player, and they don't respect how good and how talented the league is. I liken it to this. You would have a conversation, with your 10-year-old child a certain way. But when your 10-year-old child became 27 or 28, your conversation would be totally different. So you're having conversations a lot of time with guys coming into college about trying to tell them and explain to them what it's going to be like. In the NBA, they already know what it's like to be like. They've been humbled, they've won, they've lost. They know night in and night out, if they don't come ready, it can be very challenging. There's nothing they haven't experienced already. So your conversations are on a totally different level in the NBA than they are in college. Not to say that they're better or worse. It's just totally different. It's like when you're dealing with someone that doesn't have a lot of experience versus someone that's got a wealth of experience. And all these NBA guys have a lot of experience.
Great answer. I know our fans are loving that. Harold, fan wants to know, what was it like to be able to play for two of the greatest coaches in Friar history and enjoy it with Coach Donovan?
First of all, it was an honor just to play for Coach Mulaney, a Hall of Famer, and Rick Pitino. Just an honor to play for both of those guys. Playing wise on the court, two totally different styles of play. I think I learned a lot from Coach Mulaney as far as how to play the game, the IQ of the game. He liked to slow things down, The reverse was true about Rick Pitino. Just go. Get the ball and go. Find a three-point shooter, find somebody open, and score and press and just go. So two totally different styles. I love both of them. I don't think I would trade my college experience for anything, helped me as a person, definitely helped me as a player. So all good.
Great question. Doris, as an 87 grad, along with Billy, you were highly successful on the court as well, but seeing the college go through the whole Final Four, going to New Orleans, what was that like as a fellow student athlete and in your senior year?
Yeah, it was really an incredible time to be at Providence. And I would go back to, the year prior, because you could just see how electric the Civic Center was starting to become. And, we would not necessarily get tickets, but the great Jerry Alamo used to take the women down in a van and get us in. And we'd sit on the baseline, sometimes with the band, sometimes on the opposite end. And listen, my basketball fandom has always been intense anyway. I went to Providence College in part because I understood the Big East was something special. And the style of play that they put in under Coach Pitino was, the style that I love to watch till this day. I was a huge fan of the Showtime Lakers, just a huge fan. So it was electric. Campus was electric. And, at that time, and it feels a little different when I'm on campus now, but so much of the tone and tenor of the campus was driven by the success or sometimes the struggles of the men's basketball team. It's such a part of the fabric to me of the city of Providence, of the state of Rhode Island, which feels like a city state, and certainly of our institution. And again, I go back to the fact that we knew H and Billy and every, Pop, dear, God rest his soul, like we knew those guys. And so to watch this transformation of a team that struggled to one that had this extraordinary success, it was just so exciting. And as a senior, we end our season, we fall a game short of the Big East championship game. And then we get to watch this run. And at the time, coverage of college basketball was really exploding. And so I just distinctly remember watching it with our teammates and getting such joy out of this run and thinking, well, there is no way in hell they're beating Alabama. Like getting by UAB, I think was really hard. And I just remember the journey and how electric and exciting it was to watch.
Coach Donovan, staying on that, you've had so many amazing accomplishments. To win back-to-back national championships in college, incredible, an NBA player. How do you put your time in reaching a Final Four at PC with everything that you've accomplished?
Oh, I'd say it's one of the highlights of my life. One of the things I remember, it was great because, we were able to experience that, but like Alan Roth and Dick Pennyfuck, there was a lot of guys that had a lot to do with us getting to that point that happened to graduate. And it was great that those guys were there to share with the experience with all of us. It was just like the guys from that first 2 years of Coach Pitino's stint were all together in New Orleans. So that part of it was great, and sharing that with everybody. But it's definitely one of the highlights because my first 3 years in college never went to the NCAA tournament. I never knew what that was experiencing. And the Big East at that time was really, really good. And I think maybe my freshman or sophomore year, the Big East had 3 teams in the Final Four. It was the year that Villanova won the national championship. And we never, ever even got to the NCAA tournament. So I never experienced that. So when it started, it was kind of like surreal how it all kind of unfolded and how it happened. And to be able to share in that and be a part of that was something certainly that like came out of the blue. Like it wasn't like we were projected maybe even to get to the NCAA tournament, never mind go to the Final Four. And to be a part of that and to share in that with all the guys that were there and the people on campus was, really one of the highlights of my life.
And Harold, to continue that, even though you weren't on that 87 team, I still see the bond to this day with everybody on that. Can you give the fans out there how, even though you maybe might have not been on the roster, you were still a member of that team?
Yeah, Steve, I think it was just a magical 2 years. Again, that's all Coach Pitino was there for, just for 2 years. So it's the tightness of that group. And I think also being the captain my senior year and really not leaving Providence after I graduated and being around and still coming to practice. Enjoyed that because I got to leave whenever I wanted to. It was time to run. I left the gym. I didn't have to do sprints anymore, so that was good. But as Billy said, Coach Pitino and the college, they invited us, the 4 seniors that had just graduated, to travel with the team to New Orleans, and it was a great trip. Just a special time, seeing all the fans come down to New Orleans just to watch the games. I think people just showed up without tickets, just somehow train, plane, bus. Somehow they got down to New Orleans to watch these guys, and it was a special time, a magical time, and again, just like Billy, just the highlight of my life for sure.
Now, am I allowed to ask a question?
Of course, D.
This would be great.
I'm just curious only because so everybody knows Alumni Hall and there's windows and we always practiced after you guys. When Coach Pitino took over, I swear to God, I felt like from the time you woke up in the morning until the time you went to bed, you ran. And I'm curious, when you went to the first practice with this guy, say after preseason, were you terrified? I don't think I've asked either of you two that question. Was it terrifying to be in this practice? Did you just know this is going to be a grueling physical exercise? What was it like?
I'll let you answer it.
Well, Bill, you ended up working for him later on, so I'll answer this. It was actually enjoyable, Doris, I tell you, because we pretty much scrimmaged the entire practice. And usually you get in practice and the coach has to talk and tell you, again, I think that was one of the big differences between Rick Pitino and Joe Mulaney. But we scrimmaged and we pressed all day. And it was actually fun. I mean, if you were a guy who was on the bench and you didn't get to play much, you got to shoot as much as you wanted to in practice because we just scrimmaged all day. And I remember the games, I forget which game it was. We may have been playing Marquette, and I was on a foul line, and the guy looked at me and he said, "Do you guys ever get tired?" And I said, "This is nothing. We get timeouts, we get a halftime, we get foul shots." I go, "Come to practice, you'll see him running. This is nothing. I love the games. I get to rest. So it was enjoyable for me. It was enjoyable."
Coach D, you want to add to that?
Yeah, I mean, it was totally different. Something for me, like I played for a high school coach that was very, very similar to that, the way we practiced. I mean, we practiced 3.5, 4 hours a day when I was in high school. So I was somewhat like used to it a little bit in terms of what it was going to be like. But H didn't mention this, and Doris, you'll appreciate this. So like if you got thrown out of practice for something, the punishment was you had to go downstairs and run a mile and come back up to the court within 10 minutes. So guys would be constantly going down to the track, in Peterson Recreation Center. Guys, because you were allowed to change your shoes and put a pair of track shoes on. So guys would say, the heck with that. Guys are running with high top sneakers a mile around the track and then trying to get up there. And it was a coach timing you, and then you get back up there, get thrown out again. It was another mile. So yeah, I agree with H. I think it was so enjoyable. One is because we played all the time. And I think we saw ourselves getting better, not only individually, but collectively as a group. And we were much, much more competitive. And we were in incredible shape, and he told us that was what it was going to take. Coach Patino did, but even though it was very challenging, it was difficult, it pushed you. I wouldn't change it. I'm glad it was like that because I think it got the best out of all of us.
I love it. I'm getting questions for both Billy and Doris here. Either one of you ever have the feeling that we could get you back in college as head coaches?
Doris would be great coaching both teams.
I'll be honest with you. I always get this question. Some of the people say, well, you should coach an NBA team. I'm like, do you guys have any understanding? Like, I would have to go apprentice for 15 years in the NBA. Like, one of the things I marvel about the league is it feels to me, and Billy can certainly speak to it because his livelihood is sort of out there on a nightly basis. Like, the league evolves so quickly that I feel like I'm in a constant state of learning. And so I laugh, like Billy's been coaching since he left Providence College, after his illustrious professional career as a player.
That's great. Thank you.
I had to tease you a little bit.
Absolutely. I get it pregame too, and now I'm getting it again here.
Yeah, I mean, I have such great admiration and respect for coaches because it is not an easy job at any level that they do it, and it would take me a long time to get up to speed to coach in college or in the NBA. That's for sure.
Coach Donovan, we're gonna have a special guest in a few minutes, but I know at PC we're working on. Obviously, we're blessed to have Coach Cooley, but in his next contract, we're going to try to get you to sign an addendum that if you're retired and you have to come back and finish off at PC. So we're working on that.
Listen, I love Ed. I love Providence. It's been really, I didn't know how it was going to be, in the NBA. And, being at Florida for 19 years, I felt like I experienced everything there. It was a great place to raise my family, and it was great for the kids to live there. I think the other part of it too is in the coaching profession, there's a lot of bouncing around to different cities, and it can be very difficult on a family. I was fortunate could stay in one place, but I really didn't know, what it would be like. But I really have enjoyed the NBA. I think to Doris's point, I mean, night in and night out, you are really, really challenged. The level of coaches at this level is incredible. All these guys are amazing coaches, and you're constantly in dilemmas and binds and tough situations that you have to figure out in terms of game planning and preparation and scouting. And then what are you going to do and how are you going to try to score? It's really stretched me in a lot of different ways, and I've enjoyed it, immensely because I think I've learned a lot and gotten better. And I also, loved my experience, in college as a college coach. And, certainly I'm a big Ed Cooley fan. I love Ed. I think he's done a marvelous job. He's a tremendous person. And, if I am retired, I'd be more than happy to sit next to him by his side and try to help him.
For all three of you, we're getting great questions. Who's the one player that you guys have always idolized, either retired or current? And Harold, I'll start with you. Who's the one player that you always looked up to that was your favorite NBA player?
Just from watching, I have to say MJ, Michael Jordan. I just couldn't, believe some of the things he was able to do on the court, and again, with defense being my forte, sometimes I would think, how would I stop him? How could I defend him? Never had that answer. No one had that answer. So, but you know, I enjoyed watching him. Just tremendous.
Doris?
Gosh, so many. I mean, I remember as a kid, like watching college basketball was appointment viewing because it was only on Saturdays and Sunday afternoons. You were in front of the TV and it was Kentucky and Notre Dame and just a select handful of teams, Indiana. I remember distinctly watching Kyle Macy as a young kid. And I don't know, like, I loved Mo Cheeks because I couldn't be Dr. J. I told Mo that when he was with Billy's on the staff now in Chicago too. I always just thought I have a better chance of being Mo Cheeks than Dr. J, that's for sure.
Coach D?
I got a little bit of a bizarre one. It's probably not going to make a lot of sense. My favorite player growing up was George Gervin. I just loved watching him play, the ease at which he scored. You know, he was somebody I always kind of just marveled at and enjoyed watching. But he was probably my favorite growing up.
Can you each of you tell us, now that you look at Providence College 2020 and you see the school, it's not the school any of us went to. You know, when I take my classmates on campus, they're like, Steve, where's PC? I said, we're walking it. Is tell us what makes you so proud today when you walk on campus. Billy, we'll start with you.
Well, I think like H said, you know, H and I were teammates and, you know, we were a year apart and just the relationship. I mean, even, you know, over the years, I cannot tell you how many times H has been at a Providence game on the road or somewhere. And then some of the old former guys come back in and he picks up the phone at 11 o'clock and is passing the phone around. You're talking to guys, it's unbelievable. And then as he mentioned, you know, both of our kids are roommates, you know, at Providence. My wife and I really talked to our daughter a lot about the experience that we had there, you know, because of the quality of people that are there, you know, at the school. And I think there's really something extremely special, you know, about the environment there. And I loved it. And it was an incredible 4 years for me. And I feel bad for a lot of the kids that are there now with COVID going on and just not being probably a normal campus like any campus across this country right now is. But it is just a unique, special place. I mean, you know, I go back there, I get goosebumps. There's only one other place I ever went to where I got goosebumps going on a college campus, and that was Notre Dame. This Providence gives you goosebumps, and I haven't been back in a long time, but when I do go back, I mean, I think about the teammates and the experiences and the fun and the laughs and just a great group of guys. You know, even though we shared, you know, a locker together and we shared a uniform together, it was so much deeper than that. I mean, there was some really deep rooted relationships where, you know, I've said this to teams before, the best teams that I've been around have three qualities that have nothing to do with skill. The three qualities they have is they love each other, they care about each other, and they accept each other for who they are. And I felt like that's what our relationships were based on there. And it was just a really special time for me, and happy my daughter could go there and be a part of it.
Well, Coach Donovan, the best part is, you know, for all of us to be able to walk on your court in the new Wayne Development Center, you and Chrissy, we're grateful to both of you because you've meant so much to PC, and thank you for the impact you've had both as a student athlete and what you do now. But my Christmas gift to all three is I got the big man, Santa Cooley, joined us to say hello.
Billy boy, Doris, what's going on, family?
What's happening?
How y'all doing? Billy boy.
Easy Ed. Easy Ed. You look great. Look, it's COVID. Got the goatee going.
I look like I look awful. I'm in great shape, coach. Great shape. But took 50 off. COVID's been good to me. Real good.
So Eddie, I told all three of them I didn't know what to get them for Christmas, so I'm giving them you for 15 minutes. What's better than that?
No, I want another raise for Christmas. Hell with that, man. I want another raise, right? Why not? Right? Doris, how you doing?
I'm doing great. How you doing, Coach?
Doing great. We're out here working on transition defense and blocking out, you know?
There you go.
Hey, Billy, we're working on our white press. Hey, how's your family? How's everybody's family? Great?
we're all doing great, Ed. Doing great. Hopefully you're doing well.
No complaints here, brother.
You look great. You look great.
Feel awesome.
Your family good?
Doing great. Really good.
Excellent.
Really good. Actually, I'm making dinner tonight. And guess what's for dinner tonight?
Uh-oh.
This is going to be good.
Absolutely nothing, because I can't cook. They're going to get some wish. They're going to get a wish dinner. Wish they had something good to eat. So it's awesome to see. I appreciate the both of you guys. So every time I see you all there, like I get this giddy feeling when I'm watching you coach, when I'm listening to you commentate. It's like my brother and sister out there. I'm like, they're doing well, man. I get so much pride in that. So much pride. So I love you guys so much. Thank you so much for everything.
Oh, thank you, Ed.
Yeah, thank you. And we're proud of you. I mean, to watch your team have such consistent success, Ed, has been a real joy. And I know a point of pride for all of us. So, we appreciate you. I know Billy knows your life is not easy, Coach.
Oh, man. I tell you what, I love your daughter here at school. She came, they wanted to watch, I forget the name of it. The Bachelorette, was it?
Bachelorette.
I was like, sure, just come in my office. I don't know how to turn the TV on or off, but you'll figure it out. I am electronically dumb. I did these Zooms are driving me crazy. I'm like, what's the number? What's the password? What's the link? Can you send me the ID numbers? I've learned a lot, but I'm appreciative of you guys. I'm going to hustle back to practice because we got to get better. We're getting better though. Our team is, I don't know if fundamentally we were ready for the Asheville tournament. We have 8 new players and we're trying to learn what each player's strengths are. Defensively, we know where we're going to be, but I saw a big jump in the last week. Everybody can play. Well, you're not playing the game. You're not playing the game. Quite frankly, we need preparation time to get to those games. And I think once we stop playing again, we'll be a little bit better. But loving our leadership, love the personality of the group. We're not tough enough yet. I don't care if we play in 16-16, as long as we win 17-16, I don't care what the score is, but we got to be tough. We got to come in with, a gang. We got to, as a gang, and just fight, right? The game honors toughness, and that's what we continue to tell the players, right?
Your league is brutal, Ed.
It's tough. I mean, mentally. So Friday, we get a call at 5:30 in the morning that the Xavier game is canceled. On the way coming to work, the Connecticut game was canceled. Then Sunday, we're playing DePaul. Monday afternoon, we're not playing DePaul. So try to keep the players' sanity. They've been great, though. They've been really, really good. And we're practicing hard as hell right now out there. They got great rhythm, great pop. I'm getting ready to go put them through a grueling transition drill.
Coach Cool, before you jet, I have a season ticket holder asking if games on the line of horse. You have Coach D, Doris, and Harold. Who you taking?
Well, the first one's Harold's out. Harold for sure is out. Yeah, Harold. Nope. It's not your time to talk, Harold. You're out. You can wave the towel. Game on the line. Billy, I love you, man, but I'm going with my girl, man. She's clutch.
Hey, listen, Ed, it doesn't surprise me. She tells me every single pregame when I get it anyway, so I'm totally fine with it. I'm going to her too.
I'm a wing ISO, right?
You really, he's the only one on this call who could shoot. Harold and I couldn't put the ball in the ocean. Only one person on that.
But from a coaching standpoint, you got to play the Jedi mind trick. They're going to all be guarding Harold and Billy. So, we're going the other way. Every now and then, you got to throw the curveball in there, right? Got to throw the curveball. Harold, there's no way I'm running the end of game play for you, dog. No way.
Coach, I had hidden offensive skills.
They're still hiding in.
That's right.
And they're playing hide and go seek is what they're doing.
Well, Coach Cooley, we're so thankful you joined us. This is a special gift to our season ticket holders. And I know even when you and I are in your office, we just talk about how blessed we are to have the Friar family and people like Doris, Coach D, and Harold part of it. So
absolutely.
Thank
and
you
I
so
appreciate
much
all of our season ticket holders and their support going on my 10th season here. I couldn't be more happy, and I still think better things are to come. God bless everybody, and Merry Christmas.
Good luck, Ed. Merry Christmas, pal.
Love you, Coach. Love you, Doris.
brother.
Love
See
you,
you.
Harold. Talk to you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, baby.
Thanks, H. So Doris, Coach D, thanks for your answer. Doris, when you come on campus and, I'm blessed to have you as a dear friend and all you do for PC and the women's team and all our programs, what can you share with the Friar Town, what you're so proud of?
I'm amazed at the transformation, I think, more than anything else. I think Rick Pitino, maybe I sort of remember him talking about this back in the day, just sort of that the institution itself, from a building and aesthetics and all of the little things, that go into your first impression of a place. And it's a tribute to you and to H, and the fundraising and the commitment of Brian Shanley and Bob Driscoll and all of the people who, I think back to Billy coaching at Florida and, going down there when I was on Dick Vitale's team as a sideline reporter and just sort of marveling at the quality of the facilities that he, was fortunate to have at Florida, and watching our institution become a place that really, I walked into your basketball facility, Knapp, and I thought, oh my God, this is NBA level basketball facility. So, and just, the campus is spectacular, and you've made all these incredible improvements without losing the soul of the place, without losing all the things Billy and H have talked about, which is sort of, this, I don't know that there's something tangible or a word I could draw on that could describe what the place is, but basically the soul of the institution hasn't been lost through all of the improvements in the physical plant and the academic side of things. It's just, as somebody who spends part of her year in Rhode Island, it just makes me happy to walk onto campus occasionally and see what the place has become. And listen, Billy, obviously the huge contribution to that facility, and he should pay up. He's made enough money in his career, so God bless you, baby.
Hey, Doris, with the way it's going for you, don't think that right now Knapp and Bob Driscoll and the three of us and H would be knocking on your door here shortly.
I love it. This is great. Now, H, you get paid by TC, so you should have a real good answer to this question.
Yes, yes. I love the place every day, Steve. It's great.
The last question I'm going to ask you guys, it's the holiday season, and Christmas is such a special time of year. Fans out here want to know from each of you, what makes Christmas special for you, and what can you give our fans, that something that you do that's really special and that you want to share with them? So, Doris, we'll start with you.
Start with Billy.
Doris, your broadcasting skills are coming over. You're taking over as moderator. I like this.
Whatever happened when she was talking about, she had to do these things by herself. She knew when to talk, when to take a step. I don't feel like she's known that at all during this Zoom call. All right, Doris, I'll go first. I think being a coach has been hard. I learned, I think, a valuable lesson earlier on, because when I first started coaching, we practiced on Christmas. And, as I got older and started to have younger children, I tried to set up time for them, especially in college, where we would play maybe on the 22nd or 23rd of December, and then we'd come back to campus like the 26th or 27th. I thought it was really, really important for the players to be home with their families during that time. And it took me probably a little bit of time to evolve into that. Because I remember being in college, at Providence, we would practice on Christmas. We were on campus on Christmas, and, maybe you had a day to go home, but that was really about it. And so I thought that was really important. In the NBA, it's been a little bit different, because it's been maybe 3 or 4 of the years that I've been in the NBA, of the 5, we've played on Christmas Day. Even though it's a great honor to play on Christmas, you still, it's hard, knowing you have a game and you're away from your family. But the thing that I've always, loved has been just the time that we've been able to share as a family, and everybody being together. And, it's right in the middle of the season. And, just being able to share that together, I think, has always been something I really, really have appreciated and loved.
H.
Doris, just take over. I love it.
Doris, you get a couple bad Christmas gifts last year?
I would say, the same. The holidays are usually all about the family, those that are here with you, and those that you have lost along your life. So I think about those 2 things all the time. This year, 2020, as we all know, being a special year, and not all in a good way. I just miss the fact that I don't think the Friars will be able to bring joy to its fans the way it has in years past, because we're not allowed to play in front of them. And I know from being a player and now working at the college, what it means for our fans to go and attend a game during the holidays and how that becomes part of what their family does, for the holidays. They get their tickets, they go see the Friars win, and they go home and they enjoy the holidays with each other. So all about the Friars and the holidays.
Well said.
Take it
Doris,
over.
you okay to go now?
I'm, yeah.
She's gonna turn it over to you, Nap. You can do it next.
So I can't remember how many years I've been part of the NBA, and I love it and I'm thankful for it, but you work on Christmas Day, obviously. The good part of this year is my game is in Boston, so I'll have both brunch and a very late dinner with both my kids. For me, Christmas Day is always, okay, am I celebrating on the 23rd, the 24th? Can the kids come with me? Where are we? And it's, as Billy said, like, it's a fun day to be a part of the NBA, but I'll tell you this, the thing I will miss the least when I'm done with this career is working Christmas Day. I hope you won't take that as a complaint. It's more an observation.
Hey, Nap, I really mean this, and Doris can attest this, and she's being extremely, very, very gracious and humble. But the level of entertainment she brings into everybody's home for Christmas, is really in a lot of ways a tremendous gift that she gives everybody on Christmas. But the sacrifice she has to make in order to do that is, believe me, it's huge. It's huge. When you know your job doesn't allow you to be with your family, and you know that your kids have got friends and they know their families are together and you can't do that. And then here she is on TV making sure everybody has a great Christmas experience with the NBA, is really an amazing sacrifice that she makes.
Well
It's
said.
not, just thank you so much. It's very, very kind of you. I would say it's my children who make the sacrifice, but yes, thank you, Billy. You're very kind, sincerely.
Well said. Well said. Well, I want to say on behalf of Father Sicard, Bob Driscoll, all of us in Friartown, this was a gift to all of us, because to have the three of you at a time to share amazing stories, the synergy between you three is awesome to watch. And your time, treasure, and talent. I have so many board of trustee members texting me, fans, just saying this is unbelievable, and how grateful they are to have individuals such as yourself represent Providence, be proud to be associated with Providence. And as a young guy who grew up loving PC and now is blessed to work there, to be able to do things like this, I can't thank you guys enough. This has been phenomenal. So the one thing you have to end off on is, Coach D, you probably know this, what's the best advice you can give everybody going into the new year?
Just stay safe, protect each other. Hopefully we can get back, through COVID, and people can go to the dunk and watch the games. But, in the meantime, it's just hope everybody stays safe and healthy and has a great, great Christmas and certainly a happy new year.
H.
Same thing as Billy said, love one another and look forward to better days in the future.
D, end it off for us.
Yeah, hang in there. It's not easy, but there's always so many reasons to be thankful. And thank you to all three of you guys. It was a lot of fun. I appreciate you having me. It was a lot of fun. Hang in there, everybody. We're going to get through it all.
Love you guys. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. Everybody stay safe.
Love you guys too. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Be good. Thanks.